Welcome to The Way, the Truth and the Life. My name is Sandra and I pray that the testimony you are about to hear strengthens your faith and draws you closer to Jesus. Today I'm with Natalia Vilches and she actually went to school with me, which is really exciting, and I'm super excited to hear your story and for you to share with us.
Thank you for asking me to share.
Thank you so much. So do you want to start by telling us, how you came to know Jesus?
Yeah, I actually grew up in church my whole life. I was one of those kids that had to go to church. Yes, I was forced to go to church, and I'm actually really grateful I was taught to go to church. But in my adult life, I did continue to go, but I didn't realize that I didn't know who God was. I thought I did, but I actually had no idea. And one thing that always stood out to me when people would share or preach was that they could remember specifically when they encountered God. There are many people that remember the date, the time, the location, and I always thought, how come I don't have that memory? Maybe it's just because I've been in it my whole life, and praise God that I've known Him my whole life, and I don't have that moment because I know God. But that was wrong. That wasn't the truth. Because on the 21st of December in 2019, I actually encountered God.
Wow.
So my marriage had broken down a year before, and I was previously married for 8 years. We were together for 10, and we share a beautiful little boy. And I was so angry and so confused as to how this had happened. I thought God was for marriages, not divorce, and blah, 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 blah. And I was just angry. I was just angry and confused. And so at this point in my life, I was actually in the world. I had chosen to go into the world. I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm done with you, God. And I've experienced a lot of things in life, but I've never, ever, ever said, I'm done with you. Yeah. I've never said that. But this broke me. This literally broke me. And so, I was in the world. And I remember one day I was driving, and I was sitting in traffic, and a friend was in the car. They were asleep. And I don't often have praise and worship music playing, but because my friend was there, I was like, I better put a bit of church music on. But the song So Will I came on. So Will I 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, or something like that. But I remember I had not heard it before, and I think it had been out for quite some time. Yeah. And I heard the lyrics, if creation still obeys you, so will I. And something happened. Like it's like the wind was taken out of me. Like someone had winded me when I heard those words, and I was like, what did that say? And I got this vision. I'm sitting in traffic.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're sitting there and
I was driving a manual too. Yeah. It wasn't auto. Yeah. So I had to pay attention when the lights were coming on. And I saw this vision of grass, blades of grass, just big green blades of grass, and I'm this teeny little thing, and I'm looking up at them, and I'm looking around, and the blades of grass just bow down.
Wow.
They bow down.
I've got goosebumps everywhere.
And I was like, whoa.
That's amazing.
Because grass gets kicked, it gets stomped on, it gets pooed on by animals and weed on, and all those things are coming to mind, but the grass still bows down to God, irrespective of being stomped on, tromped on, disrespected, and it still bows down. Who am I not to bow down to God, irrespective of what I've been through?
That's so amazing.
And I was like, what is happening? Like in that moment, I felt my heart just fold. I felt my heart just fold and bow, and I was like, hey, stop, I'm not letting you, I didn't know, just what is it? It was just such a moment, such an experience. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to you. I really don't want to, that's my truth, but who am I not to bow down to God when grass bows down to God?
That's so powerful.
So that's when I had my encounter, and it did soften my heart. It softened my heart to hearing God, knowing more, really understanding who He is, what He's about. and getting to know him. Yeah, because he's a relational God. If we don't sit down and we're not reading the word or in prayer, you know, and singing praises, and we have no relationship. He doesn't reveal himself to us. He doesn't, you know. So just like friends sit down to talk, we have to do that with God.
So that was December 2019, and then COVID hit in March. So how did you sort of, did that affect you? Like, how did you cope with 2020?
Yeah, COVID.
I know a lot of people have struggled not being in church and things like that.
Well, one thing I realised after I had my encounter was that I was going to church to hear about a God from a man at the front of a church.
Yeah.
And I remember this Sunday, I walked in, I was late, the sermon had already started, and I was like, why did I come here to listen about a God that I'm pretty sure I have access to at home?
Yeah.
And that Sunday I went home and I did not go back to church. And I was like, if I'm going to hear from you, encounter you, learn about you, I want to do it in my home, in my private time, and I'll open up to that. So prior to COVID, I had that encounter, and I guess God prepared me personally for COVID, because I had experienced my own personal COVID with my crisis, my personal crisis. I was already isolated. I was already struggling to engage with people. I had my own personal restrictions. So when COVID hit, it actually didn't affect me.
Okay.
I was like, I know what it's to just have no money, go to the shops, have very little, make do with what I've got, and still rejoice in the Lord. So COVID personally didn't affect me. I do work in the community service sector.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you tell us a bit about the shelter that you work for?
Yeah. So I run a street kitchen in Liverpool where we feed hungry and homeless and lonely people.
So good.
Not just homeless. And during COVID that picked up, so work picked up. I was far more busy. I was not actually isolated. My little boy's daycare was still running. And that was beautiful when we were able to meet again. It's a safe space for people to come as they are and just be loved. Just be loved.
What would you say to someone that might be watching that maybe doesn't really knows of God or church or whatever, but doesn't really know him personally? Or what would be a first next step for someone, like your piece of sort of advice? Or
you have to be at the end of yourself. That's the truth. You have to get over yourself. You have to come to a place where I'm done with trying to do things by myself, on my own terms. And it's not until we reach that place where we're finally like, right, what do you want? What do you want from me? That's actually what I did. Die to self daily. But you must come to that place, because when I was in the world, I remember one night I said to God, I know you're calling me back. I know you're wanting me back, but I'm not ready. I'm going to be honest with you because you see my heart already, so I'm not going to lie to you. The truth is, I'm delighting myself in this sin. That's my truth, but I know it's not right by you, and you have more for me. Please help me to come back to you. Right now, I don't know how to do that.
And he did that in the traffic, in a traffic jam.
Driving a manual car.
Next time you're in a traffic jam, people, watch out.
Especially if you're listening to praise songs.
So good. Thank you so much.
Come to the end of yourself. And when that's done, and your journey with God begins. It's beautiful.
And your son is so cute. Like, you obviously probably have God conversations with him.
Yeah. It's been such a blessing. You know what the enemy meant for evil, honestly, God has turned it for good. He's just recently learnt a Bible verse in Spanish. He's learnt Psalms 23 verse 1 in Spanish. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We have our own home and our own routine, and our home is godly. So it's such a joy to share God with him. And I always tell him, it's okay if you don't love God right now. Maybe one day you will, and maybe one day you won't, but I'm still going to love you. And that's how God is with us. He still loves us. Even when we make bad choices, it does bring a distance between us, but it doesn't stop him from loving us. So I teach my son that, and I, through actions, words, apologies.
Love languages.
Apologize to him when I'm wrong. That's a big thing. Repenting. So he's beautiful. I'm blessed. I got the greatest gift out of him.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it.
That's all right. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you could join us today. If you'd like to share your testimony or what God is doing in your life, please email waytruthlifeproject@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.